Good evening, everybody. I am just gonna wait for people to start joining the live. We're just waiting on. Welcome to everybody joining the live. Let's share the live. We are live. I'm just waiting for more people to join, then we can get started. Welcome, Lucinda. Thank you for joining. I see more people are joining the live. We are going to give them about 5 minutes more just to join the live. It is my first time going live, so please be kind. Be kind with me this evening. Welcome, Mandy. I can see we are getting more people onto this live. So, thank you for sharing, Kels. Yes. And don't be shy. We can share the hearts. I am more than willing to receive your gifts this evening. I hope I'm going to do this topic justice. And I know that most people think I'm very serious, but I'm going to hopefully show my humor this evening and not be the serious person I am that everybody knows. Welcome, Nathaniel. Welcome, Kelsey. Just want to welcome some more people before we start. If there are any parents that you know of, let them join the live. Thank you, Pastor Mandy. Let them join the live. You know, we're here to share and learn from each other and make sure that we shape destinies after all. Okay, I think we're going to start at around about 5 past. Let's just give some more people some time just to join the live. And then we can go ahead and start our topic. I don't want it to be too long, but let's see how it goes. It might be a full hour. And I was warned not to look at the chat, so I'm not going to look at the chats too much tonight. I am just going to give my view on parenting. And I'm just going to say welcome to everybody that's on the live. If you just joined, welcome. If you've been here, thank you for joining. I actually sat and I thought about parenting and how we as parents shape our kids' destinies. And I remember a couple of years ago, before I joined Innovation Church, I actually joined as a guest. And Pastor Cindy was doing, I'm not sure if it was in our women's meeting, But she actually spoke about our youth and how we as parents are not just parents, but we are actually facilitators of destinies. And those words really stuck with me, and it's something I live by. Every decision I make, I don't look at it as just being a parent. I look at it as me being the facilitator of my child's destiny. So I would like to just share a short story. I am a parent of one son. I'm sure most of the people on the live know Ty. He's a vibrant child. He is the total opposite of me. He's very outgoing. But as a parent and a first-time parent having to learn, I know I've been exposed families to see the I just want to, okay. I'm just looking at the comments. I know that I've seen a lot of parents and I've seen how other parents do things, and I've now had to, as a first-time parent, having to figure out life as a parent, and it was a daunting task, I must say, because to me it was straightforward. You need to provide for this child. You need to make sure this child has everything they need, and then you need to make sure that you equip the child. And to me, equipping was education. Little did I know that this person I brought into this world is the total opposite me. This person's going to test me. This person's going to challenge me. And how I was brought up might not even work with my child. And those words were not even out of my mind, and those things were happening. I got like I said, the total opposite. Just imagine, yeah, I am this quiet person. When I'm in a crowd, I keep to myself. And now I have this child that when we walk into a room, he's greeting everybody, telling everybody his name. And I didn't know how to deal with it. Like, guys, I was really like, honestly, I didn't know how to cope as a parent. And little did I know that school will become even interesting, where the entire school, guys, I'm not exaggerating, the entire school knows Ty, from the security right up until the principal. That is how well known he is, that literally when I pick him up from school, everybody's screaming, Ty, here's your mom. And I had to sit back and ask myself, okay, I'm the facilitator of destiny. Yes, I agree. Pastor Mandy is so cute and he's full of himself. He tells me he's handsome and he knows he's cute. He's very confident, which at his age, when I was his age, I didn't even want to speak in front of people. And yeah, he is very confident, outspoken, intelligent. I know all parents, all our kids are intelligent, but I just want to say I am stunned by how well Ty does academically, in crowds, whatever he puts his mind to. And this is the point I want us to discuss tonight, is how do we as parents shape? And like I mentioned earlier, I spoke about how those words Pastor Cindy mentioned in a meeting really stuck with me and got me thinking as a parent. And then when I look at the word of God, it just confirms what she was speaking. If we look at Proverbs 22 verse 6, it says, train up the child in the way that they should go, that when they are older, they will not depart from it. And I, as a parent, had to take a step back and actually go and ask, consult with God and say, yes, I brought him into this world, but he is yours at the end of the day, Lord. He is yours. And what is it that I need to facilitate to make sure as a parent he walks in the fullness that you have designed him to be? And from a young age, guys, with Ty, I know with myself sometimes, and you might say, this is how I set myself, this is the goal I set. But as a parent, I needed to think according to God's will and not my own will. Sometimes as parents, what we didn't achieve, we tend to force it on our kids, knowingly and unknowingly. We plan their lives, we choose careers, we expose them to things we would like to expose them. But like I said, I have a child that is very different. What mommy likes, he tells me I'm a boring person. And what he likes is the complete opposite. And that is why it is important as a parent that we facilitate their destinies, and we go back to the word of God that says, train up the child in the way that they should go, not your way that they should go, but the way. And I would have loved Ty to study something that will probably give him a good life. But I need to tell you a very funny story. So he's asthmatic, and we do a checkup every 6 months. And we're sitting in the doctor's room, and the doctor's checking out how Ty is doing. And Ty asked the doctor, so have you always wanted to be a doctor? And I already know where the conversation's going. So I look at Ty and I'm like, please don't be that child. And the doctor says, yes, Ty, I've always wanted to be a doctor. And he says, okay. And the doctor goes and he poses the question and he says to him, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And Ty says, you know what? When I'm 25, I'm going to be a famous soccer star. I'm going to play internationally. But I'm only going to play like for 5 years. And then when I'm about 30, I want to be a sensei for the next 5 years. But mommy said I must study something that I can fall back on. And I've decided that I want to be a scientist. And this doctor looks at him and he looks at me and he says to me, okay, Ty. And he looks at me and he says, well done, mommy. And I was like, sensei, there's no money there. But that is my thinking. And then you find, yeah, we get a prophecy that Ty's meant for the field. And according to my will for him, I'm just thinking about what is going to give Ty a good life. What is going to give him the life that I would want him to see. And I didn't consider his passion. And here we are in a doctor's room and he's expressing he's got a whole plan for his life that has nothing I have planned. And as a parent, so many times we tend to make that mistake. We tend to think what is good for our children, not what their passion might be. But I must say, I've learned to consult Ty first. And I've learned to pray about things as well. I've learned that not everything has to be about what I want for him and worrying about his future and how he needs to have a good life and be a provider if he has a family. I also need to make sure that I look at his purpose and I work towards the purpose that God has designed him to be. The purpose that I might not agree with sometimes, but is it God's will? And so many times we as parents, we put God aside and want to parent only. We just feel like, no, God, you gave me this child, so I am the one that needs to make sure he's educated. I need to make sure he's confident. But so many times we only consult God when things go wrong. And what I've learned is that I need to consult God in everything concerning Tylen's life. Even socially, like guys, I am that parent. I literally pray for his friends. I pray that he's the influencer because I know that God is working through him. I pray that amongst his friends, he influences them in the way of the Lord. and that he will not easily be influenced. I pray that whatever career he chooses, that indeed it is in according to the will of God. That even in his academics, I know he might be tired of me praying for the spirit of excellence, but literally, from the age that he's schooling age grade R, he has been an A student. Every year he has received award after award. And I can't say it's because I am a good parent. It's because I hearken to God, and that is what makes me a good parent. And I'm merely a facilitator of destiny. So that is my, I know I said a mouthful, and I see a lot of comments. I see Pastor Mandy, Kelsey saying that is a destiny facilitator. Yes, Pastor Mandy, he loves soccer, but now he's more into karate. He's joined karate like for the past 2 months. He's doing very well. The sensei is very impressed like with what he does. But I also want to say big ups to the parents that do take the time out to invest in their kids, to facilitate, because and invest in yourself also. I've seen how he has changed in his behavior, in his discipline, because he's seen me being disciplined. And that, I think sometimes we don't pat ourselves on the back as parents, that our kids look up to us because we have acquired certain disciplines and obedience, and they then feed off from that. I actually got a compliment. I think Pastor Brad was in Samuel Kids, and he spoke about how Ty is like me. And it's because of I had to learn certain disciplines, because there's somebody constantly watching you. If you were worried about the surveillance around your house, you have a kid that is a surveillance. Even when you're sleeping, they are your surveillance. And that is how important your job is as a parent. That is how much God has entrusted us. And every time I make a decision, I just thank God. I'm like, you trusted me, like with a whole human being. Like a whole human, you trusted me with. And not that I'm not going to make mistakes, but I need to show him as a parent that, yes, sometimes I'm sad, but how do I deal with it? Sometimes I'm angry, but how do I deal with it? Do I go around shouting? Or do I know how to articulate myself? Do I know how to speak to others while I'm angry? Do I know how to calm and deal with my emotions? Because at the end of the day, I might tell him to be calm, but then I'm this angry person all the time, angry bird, not greeting, not wanting anything to do with anybody. When I'm angry, everybody has to wait for me to calm down. Or can I use my emotional intelligence and deal with situations even when I'm angry? Do I know how to articulate and express my feelings when he's around? And those are the things that I actually consider. And also when it comes to socializing, like I explained, I'm not really a social butterfly, but he has taught me, like this 8-year-old has taught me to come out of my comfort zone. So a lot of parents think they need to teach all the time. But in today's age, I feel like we can learn so much from our kids. We can learn so much. So I just want to know, like, if there's anything that I have not spoken about that any of the parents are doing to facilitate their kids or shape their kids, and that you can actually pat yourself on the back and say, well done, this is what I'm doing and it's working. I know that especially when it comes to education, nowadays a lot of parents invest, and there was actually a scary thing that happened. I know it's been in the news a lot about parents taking their children to private schooling, paying all that money, and then you find out that the school is not registered. How are you going to deal with it? How do you feel as a parent dealing with something like that, it actually freaked me out. And I actually went and I checked, even though I know, but I just had to recheck and make sure that, listen, yeah, even though I'm investing, am I investing in the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? So I know there's a lot of parents, you don't even know where to start looking. What are you going to do? Because you feel like you failed your child. You might feel like you failed your child. You might feel like, why didn't I do the right thing? Why didn't I do enough research? There is social things that our kids are exposed to. I know they have the world at the click of their fingers. How do we as parents guard and teach them the right thing and shape their minds to know, even though they are exposed? Because we are not, the reality is we are not with our kids 24/7, and we are not in the conversations they might have at schools. So how do we instill in them the right thing, the right mindset, that even when they are exposed to the wrong thing, that they choose to do the right thing? And yeah, I just want to get some ladies on here. I want to get some guests on here. I want to invite Pastor Man, and I actually want to ask, how has she taken on this parent role? And Pastor Mandy, if we can invite you onto this live, let us have this conversation about parenting and how you have shaped your son's life, how you are shaped the things that you do to make sure that he is taught the right thing.
Hi, evening, Tiffany. I completely lost the question because as I was joining, the sound seemed to have muted. Do you want to repeat that question for me, please?
Okay, I am gonna repeat it, Pastor Mandy. I just want to know, like, from your point of view as a parent, I know we both have sons. So how have you dealt with his ever developing personality? Like, how are you planning on making sure that you, how can I put it? Like, you hearken unto the voice of God and make sure that he is going in the way that God has purposed him to be, like with his personality developing. I know he's very young, but just give us your point.
Thank you so much, Tiffany, for that question. So, just for all the listeners, for a little bit of context, yes, I am mommy to a 7-year-old son, but we also come from a 7-year journey having to deal with infertility. So, when you say you have this child that you've been waiting for so long, and then they finally arrive, and that overwhelming sense of what now, like you are now here, so where's the book for where I
Exactly.
I facilitate this destiny. And on that note, also just a reminder to the parents, and it's exactly what Tiffany said when she opened up. We have been given this beautiful gift to facilitate destiny, but the reality is that they don't belong to us. They've been borrowed to us. We've been given the gift as parents to facilitate this destiny, but ultimately they are in the hands of God, and that is why it's so important, Tiffany, and you were alluding to this as well, that you partner with God concerning their destiny, because there is no book, there is no manual. We try our best, but yeah, to give you a little bit of context around Seth and how we are managing sort of to take him through the journey of becoming the best. So we've had a couple of challenges with Seth's development. And one of the things that I thought that I didn't think was such a huge thing, but I think when you decide what school your child even goes to, I think that is one of the biggest decisions we make for our kids. What school will they attend? And we had so many challenges in his early development with even just at the nursery school level. And it was only when Seth got to his third nursery school that a principal approached us and said, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with your son, but I have two kids. They have their own challenges, and I see a couple of stuff in Seth, and I don't want to give you a fright, but can you please go and have him checked out? Perhaps start with an OT. And I was like, okay, fine. And we went to go see an occupational therapist, and there was an assessment done, and they said, oh, Seth definitely needs some occupational therapy. And then, of course, further to that, it was speech therapy as well. We even went to the point of him going to see a child psychologist as well. He had an assessment done there in terms of school readiness. There was a specific test, I think it's called the Griffiths test, and Seth at a young age. And of course, it's not the final prognosis because he is so young, but they had placed him on what they call on a spectrum of autism, right? And now understand this, Tiffany, that you've now been given this gift. You kind of think that everything's going to be okay, and you've got what they deem, and I'm really making inverted commas here in the air, that we're going to have normal kids, right?
Yes.
And then here you have this challenge that takes you on this journey where things are not quite normal. But I thank God, Tiffany, that there was an early intervention. I thank God for people that come across your path and across your journey that help you and assist you. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a kid. And I thank God for the village, because not only did he have, like I said, this principle that came to highlight this thing to us, it is obviously now his current teacher that is assisting on his journey. It's aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces that come in and support. It's mommy, it's grandma, it's grandpas that come and love on your child. It's everyone has their place in the role of that child's life. And it's so important, like you said, who we expose our kids to. And I'm sure if Pastor Cindy was here as well, she will tell you that there are certain people that she will call upon for specific things in her children's life, where she feels, okay, I might not be able to reach you in this area, but let me bring someone along that can equip you and mentor you in that specific area. So we are grateful that we don't walk this journey alone, Tiffany. Seth has his speech therapist. He's got an occupational therapist. He's got even a physiotherapist, guys. He's got more therapists than I've seen in an entire lifetime. But God bless them. I thank God for them, because they are assisting my child in developing in specific areas where I cannot reach him in that area. I cannot be all things to him. I cannot be his physiotherapist. I try some of those things at home. Kelsey, I've even done bear walks. I know Kelsey's going to laugh at me for this because she knows I'm not an active girl. We've been doing bear walks, okay? They want me to do pressure exercises and make him walk in a eight. I'm like, I don't have time for this. That's why I send him to therapy. I don't have time for this, because we just can't be all things to our kids, unfortunately. So I thank God for those who come across his journey. I thank God that I have destiny helpers even in that regard, and that we can give him the best that we can possibly do to assist him in becoming all that God has called him to be. And no child is perfect, and no child is going to be everything that we perceive them to be. But we thank God that they will walk in the perfect plan of God, whatever God has called them to do. We just need to make sure that we are there to align them to what it is that God has called them for. So I feel like I'm talking a lot and I said a lot, but yeah, I'm excited for his journey. It's not what I perceived him, that this would be part of our journey, but I thank God that we are on this journey, and that he has so much love and so much support, and I'm excited for it. I'm so excited for it. And we'll see where it goes after, completing his primary school, and what still lies ahead for him, and that he will outgrow a lot of the challenges that he currently has because there was an early intervention. So yeah, that's where we at, Tiffany, and I only have all of one, but I'm so glad it was just one. It's been a lot. It's been a lot.
Thank you so much, Pastor Mandy. I also just have one, and we're sticking to that. I just want to salute parents who have more than one kid. You guys are superheroes, like you next
Amen.
level. Because I feel like I always say ties a three in one. But really, honestly, like it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of just a lot of everything as a parent, guys. Like, hey, sometimes I just feel like as a parent, can we just switch it off just for a little while? Because it's something constant. You are constantly dealing with your child. You don't have a off day. Like before becoming a parent, if I was not having it, I was not having it. I was not a morning person at all. My family knew that in the morning before I have my coffee, please don't even speak to me. Don't greet me. Just pretend like I don't exist. And this child literally came into my life and said, no, I'm not having that. We will be up at 5 o'clock in the morning and we will be laughing. He has also taught me that don't take life so serious, mommy. Like, we end up dancing. I know a lot of you guys, I can't dance, but with Ty, anything's possible. And I just want to say thank you, Pastor Mandy, for coming and joining and giving us a bit of what you have experienced as a parent. I know we are still going into those teenage years. We will be calling each other Pastor Mandy because we are not far apart, but we will be calling each other on that and
I'm here for it,
seeking
Tiffany.
counsel from those who are dealing with teenagers.
I said to Pastor Sunny this morning, when it comes to doing projects for school, I'm coming to knock on her door because she's a pro at doing projects. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Pastor Mandy, I just want to say brace yourself. I've had to rope in my whole family for
Yep.
projects. I've built a house. I spent a whole weekend on YouTube building a house step by step. And my child participates in everything and anything at school. I've had to make a life size calculator for something.
My
Like,
word.
it is very interesting, but brace
Oh my.
yourself. I'm glad you already have your person that you're going to. So at least you sorted in that area. But the projects
Okay.
I dealt with at school and what they have now,
Very
nah,
different. Very
yes,
different. So,
very,
but yeah,
very different.
thank you for having me tonight. But yeah, that didn't encourage me one bit.
Pastor Man, we're all about the truth here. So I didn't want you to arrive there and be surprised.
I'll be calling you, Tiffany. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Pastor
Good
Mandy.
night.
Yeah, and I think I've still got a long journey to go with Ty. And I'm excited. I have a little bit of fear in me, but I know with God anything's possible. And the more we consult, the better we become as parents. I think that is our main takeaway for this evening. The life is not ending, but I just want to say if you take away anything, the more we consult with God, the better we become as parents. And I know I want to call upon Pastor Mo. Pastor Mo is dealing with teenage things. And I wanted to come onto this live and actually come and brief us who are dealing with toddler and primary school things. I know that Pastor Mo will be able to just give us some insight, you know, on what to expect as a parent and what she has done to have such awesome kids. Like Ty literally calls Luke Uncle Luke. Luke told him that when my sister's actually saying your son thinks he's a teenager. I agree. We've been dealing with teenage things slightly, having haircuts, and he wants to look a certain way. And I was actually told not to buy cartooned character clothing anymore. He wants clothing for big boys. So yeah, I am slightly dealing with teenage stuff. I didn't expect it. I won't mention other things. I don't think he would like it if I mention those things. But yeah, we are dealing with a teenager. So I'm going to call upon Pastor Mo and help me, please prepare as the teenage life. I need to be prepared. I am traumatized sometimes just thinking about what I as a teenager was. not a pleasant person, but yeah. Pastor Mo, if you would join us and tell us how you're dealing with Phoebe, close to teenager, and Luke being a teenager already, Uncle Luke being a teenager. If you would please join us and just give us some insight into your life as a parent. I see there are more guests joining this live. I'm glad to see. Kels, would you please just help add? Oh, there we go. Good evening, Pastor Mo.
Good evening, Tiffany, and good evening to our listeners. Yeah, this is an interesting topic. I don't know if I've got all the answers, but Pastor Mandy said something very peculiar. She said they don't really belong to us. And I think what's important is that one, we do not live out our dreams and our desires through our kids. I think that is something I had to learn very, very early as a mother, because I always wanted my kids to be A students. I wanted them to be the best athletes. I wanted them to be good at every single thing that they did. And that, in fact, was not the case. And yeah, I had to deal with a lot of disappointments, but a lot of learnings as well. So don't love your childhood dreams through your kids. Allow them, through the guidance, your guidance and the guidance of God, allow them to be who God has called them to be. And so many times as parents, we make this journey so complicated. We ourselves complicate it, and it's actually not that complicated. What we just need to do is guide them as they become. Because remember, we also evolved. As adults, we are still evolving daily. There's things that you discover about yourself daily. And the best you can do with your teenagers is guide them as they discover or go through the journey of discovering themselves. Just guide them. So today, myself and Luke just had a conversation around drinking, consuming alcohol. And I had to explain to him, you know what, I can't stop him from experimenting on these things. He's going to do it behind my back. He's going to do it at school. He's going to do it when I'm not with him. There's nothing that I can do to stop that. Because we've been there, curiosity got the best of us, and we want to experience these things. But I had to guide him, and I said to him, you know what? The enemy is so shrewd. The purpose of these things, if you look at drugs, if you look at alcohol, if you look at the S word, is there some background noise?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. It is things that the enemy sits in front of us like a carrot in front of a horse in order to get us enslaved. Because if you look at a drug addict, if you look at a alcoholic, they're enslaved to drugs, they're enslaved to alcohol. Right? And that is the ultimate purpose. You're going to start it, you're going to taste it at first, but you're going to become a slave to it, and you're going to do exactly what it wants you to do in order to have it. You're going to become a slave. And I had to make that very clear to him so that he understands the consequences of when he does indulge in these things. It's easy to taste, but will you be able to come out of it? Will you be able to stop at tasting? Or are you going to want more of what you have tasted? And that is the ultimate trick there that the enemy actually has on us. He allows you to taste, and once you've tasted, you want more. So I think what's important at raising adults, because I think right now I've got the best of both worlds. I've got Luke, who is a full-on teenager, and Phoebe is a tween. So they obviously, like I think Lauren mentioned, they've got different personalities, and with different personalities comes different guidance. With Luke, he is, I would say, he's level-headed, but the guidance, because he's a boy, I've got this thing that, it's so easy for them to fall into things. So I tend to be a bit more harder on him than Phoebe, probably because she's not a full-on teenager yet, but I'm a bit more harder on Luke. I give things to him very raw. We have very raw conversations that I never had with any adult, right? I tell him the full on truth and the raw truth so that he understands going into this particular thing. This is what you're going to be faced with. These are the consequences that comes with it. And then at the end of the day, this could possibly be the end result of what you're going to be faced with. So yeah, I think what really helps is really what is helping me with Luke specifically is that he has now almost come into his own. So he's got his own relationship with God. So I would say to him, let's pray about this. Not I'm going to pray about it. Let's pray about this. I also encourage him a lot because I think as boys, I don't know, but I just think boys need extra oomph. You just need to pump them up all the time. I encourage him a lot. And I always remind him of who I see him as and what I see him as. Just in order for him to know that what he sees and what he's facing is not his end. It's not the final product. He still has to go through things, but that is the final product that I see. And I ask him, pray about things and ask God to show you certain things. We also had a conversation in the week about laziness and how laziness makes you poor. And we all know that Luke has got $1 trillion dream. So if he's lazy, he's going to end up poor at the end of the day. So I had to just, shake him there a bit so that he can understand that being lazy or tardiness rather is going to get you poor. So you better shape up or you're going to be poor. So, and then I have different conversations with Phoebe, around boys. And yes, I have those conversations already because I don't want them to be in the situation for us to have the conversation. I want her to be fully prepared so that when she feels this butterflies, know that this is what it is and this is what it can lead to and this is what it shouldn't look like and this is what it should look like and this is what you should look out for. So I have these and I know it sounds like all warnings, but I think that is what our youngsters need these days. So there's a building up and there's also a warning of what seems like nice to haves, what that could look like after you have had it. After you've licked off your lips, there are some consequences to what you've indulged in. So yeah, I really don't have all the answers, but I'm as a mom, and I think just as a human, I'm just very real and very raw with all my relationships. And yeah, I'm like that with my kids as well.
Thank you so much. I can attest to that rawness, but it's something that I feel like our youth needs. And it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Like you say, you and Luke have that honest conversations, and it's done in a manner that he's okay, he can open up with you. It's also what we as parents create, the environment we create. I'm not and this is what I believe, I'm not your friend, but I want to be the parent that you can come to. Like, if something's wrong, my name should be the first name you think about. That's how I want our relationship to be. But you must know that I'm going to give it to you real as a parent, not because I think I know it all, but where we as parents can prevent certain things from happening. And where we as parents also, while growing up, have seen certain things and consequences of certain things that we have done, and allow them to also understand that whether every decision you make, there's a consequence. It will either be good or bad. And I think that is what you have been doing, Pastor Mo. I know you said you don't know a lot of answers, you have a lot of answers to it, but there were a lot of nuggets in that you spoke about that we all can learn from tonight. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Tiff. Just to Nikolai, I see that she says, need to have this relationship with my daughter as she grows older. Trust me, Nikki, if this is a desire of yours, it will definitely be that. I remember before I had Luke, even, I always said, I want my son to be able to tell me anything and everything. And today we do have that relationship. So if it's something that you as a mom desire, you will definitely strive for that relationship. So I believe it's something that you definitely will. Oh my word, really? Oh my gosh. That is so nice to know. Oh, now we've got two Phoebes. Oh man, that's so nice to know. So it's something that you definitely will work on and you'll strive towards. And I believe that it'll be something that comes very easy and very natural to you both. So thank you so much for having me, Tiffany.
Thank you so much, Pastor Mo, for joining. I do see Lauren also commented that real and raw is key. And yes, I think that's what we need. I know that we all want to protect our kids, but like I said previously, we are not going to be around them all the time. Like Pastor Mo said, they had the conversation about drinking. She won't be there to monitor, to tell him, okay, you've had enough. Okay, stop, not with these friends. No, don't drink that, drink this, it's a bit lighter. So as parents, we need to ensure that what we teach them at home, or what that time of bonding or having an honest conversation, we are instilling something in them that whether we are with or without them or not with them, that they choose to do the right thing. And as parents, we get to see them grow into who they need to become. So I just want to say, I'm just going to go through some comments because I see that Kelsey said this is powerful, Pastor Mo. I do agree, Kels. That was very, very powerful that Pastor Mo shared with us. And then I also just want to share a story with you, like regarding social life with Ty. I always tell him, I'm this quiet person, and Ty is literally a social butterfly. He gets into a room and he makes his presence known. And to me, growing up, when we see somebody like that, I don't know how many people thought like that. It's always like, no, this person likes attention. But guys, having confidence is very important. When I say very important, you don't have to be proud. There's a difference between me having pride and thinking that I'm better than everybody. And there's this way we have built our children's confidence, like Pastor Mo said. She supports Luke. She tells him what she sees at the end of the day, not how he might see the situation. Even Pastor Manny spoke about how Seth is and what she saw and what he's going to grow into. Sometimes we just, as parents, need to understand that emotionally they are learning who they are, and what we expose them to will determine who they are as adults. it will influence who they are as adults. And on Sunday, I felt like such a proud mom. But I also want to say thank you to the people I allow in Thailand's life, especially Sunday school teachers. Teacher Luigi, like Thai adores you. But on Sunday, he really, really surprised me, guys. Like, I was I paused what I was doing. I was getting ready for church, but I paused just to listen to his response. And I've been praying over Thailand's life for all his life. But in December, I specifically started praying, I think earlier than December, I specifically started praying concerning his spiritual life and how I need God to start ministering to him in a way that he will understand. And in December, he started reading the Bible. And I've got a kid's Bible, but this boy, like I said, this kind of teenage boy didn't want the kid's Bible. So I had to give him my Bible. And he made a commitment, guys, this 8-year old. From the 1st of January, not a day has passed that we don't read. Okay, he doesn't read the Bible. And with that, every time he opens the Bible, the whole household knows that when he's done, he says, hear the word of the Lord, and we need to go. Thanks be to God. But he has instilled that in us. And it's a thing in our household now that everybody knows when he opens up the Bible, we are going to hear the word of the Lord, whether you are tired, whether you want to go to bed, you are going to hear the word of the Lord and you're going to thank him for his word. But on Sunday, Ty had a little activity. I think the kids had a little activity they were doing. And a picture was shown of a man praying. And Ty was asked, what does he see in the picture? And me, I'm thinking, oh, my child better not say something. Please, Lord, let him just say the right thing. And God surprised me. Yes, Pastor Mo, he calls himself a pastor. He says he's a young pastor, but yeah. So let me get back to the story before I get derailed with the comments. And they ask him, so there's a man praying and they ask him what he sees. And he says it reminds him of the book of Job. Already as a parent, I am confused. What does he mean? What does he know? I know that we've spoken briefly about the book of Job. I've spoken to him about it, what it means and all that. And they continue with the lesson. But before they end the lesson, Teacher Luigi says, Ty, when that picture was put up on the screen, you said it reminds you of the book of Job. What did you mean? And to my surprise, Ty literally summarized the book of Job in 2 minutes to the entire class. And he spoke about how Job had everything, how everything was taken away, how he did not curse God in his time of suffering, and God restored everything. And that just stunned me. And at that moment, I knew that my consulting with God, sometimes people see it as unnecessary. Sometimes people see me as being too much. But at that moment, it hit me that you are on the right track. You are not just teaching him things that in the way that he should go, but he is actually learning from who you are as a parent. And the conversations we have that I don't think much about sometimes, because we have a lot of conversations, guys, like a lot of conversations, that a point where I tell him, Ty, just give me 5 minutes. Just let's have a moment of silence. But it's at that point that I was super proud of this young child of mine. Like, I literally stood there. I was waiting for him to finish and I high-fived him and I was like, wow. This is the person you're becoming. This is who God has called you to be, to study the word and show yourself approved. And you have literally done that. And I was a proud parent. So let us take the time to celebrate them. Let us take the time to enjoy at moments, even when we are tired. Let us take that time as parents, because you never know what you are doing together. That bonding moment, that conversation, that ride in the car, that walk in the park is influencing. It's like a building block to who your child is going to become. You are literally shaping that child at every interaction you guys have, and the interactions they might have with other people. It shapes that child. And we as parents, it is our duty to make sure that we facilitate according to the will of God. So I know I said a mouthful, but I just needed to share my proud mom moment. I see that, okay, there's more comments. Guys, I'm going to get lost in the comments, so I don't even want to go there. But I just want to thank everybody this evening for joining the live. I want to thank my guests for joining the live. And yes, Lauren, I am really, really proud. I am also proud that I have been telling him that we must do TikToks, but I've officially gone live on a TikTok, so I'm okay with TikTok now. I think the podcast was really, really good. I got some nuggets in here. I've got some contacts like Pastor Mandy that I can call now. And Pastor Cindy, I see that she's good at projects. So I'll be reaching out. And I also want to thank everybody that plays a part in Thailand's life. My mom is like the pillar. My sister, his grandfather, our church family, friends that really just help raise this child. Indeed, I agree, Pastor Mandy. It takes a village to raise a child. So thank you once again for everybody. Thank you. I'm coming to you for, okay, Kels, we have a whole church full of parents, so you can come to us when it's your turn. We will all have, for each age, we will give you advice. So no worries on that. We are here for you. Thank you, Pastor Mo. Yes, he is. And Ty loves everybody. Ty loves everybody. Even at school, everybody's his best friend. So I am truly, truly blessed that God found me fit to be his facilitator of his destiny. And I thank you guys for an awesome, awesome, awesome night, for an awesome podcast and all your comments. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening and have a blessed remainder of the week. I also just want to make an announcement that we are having Friday service. So please inbox us if you want to join our Friday service. We're not having Key Youth this Friday, but we are having, and tomorrow night we are having our G12 meeting. So please, if you want to join either leading man or whip, please inbox us and we will send you the details. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have an awesome evening further. Bye-bye.